I thought my daughter-in-law was doing something kind. She smiled, hugged me, and handed me my favorite coffee before dropping me at the station. "Have a safe trip," she whispered. 15 minutes later, my vision blurred. The platform started spinning. I collapsed in front of hundreds of strangers. When I woke up in the hospital, the doctor looked me in the eyes and quietly said, "If one woman hadn't noticed something unusual, you wouldn't be alive today. And there's something else you need to know about that coffee." At that moment, I realized the greatest betrayal of my life had come from inside my own family. My name is Richard Hale, and I was 68 years old when I learned that not every smile hides kindness. For years I believed I had a close family. My son, Ethan, had married a woman named Claire. She always acted respectful in front of me, remembered my birthday, called me Dad, and never raised her voice. Maybe that's why I ignored the small warning signs. After my wife passed away, loneliness became my daily companion. Ethan insisted I move closer to them. I thought they genuinely cared. Over the following months, Claire became unusually helpful. She cooked my favorite meals, drove me to appointments, and constantly asked about my savings, retirement account, and the house my wife and I had built together. At first, I assumed she was simply trying to understand our finances in case something happened to me. Looking back, those weren't innocent questions. One Friday morning, I told them I planned to visit my younger brother in another state. Claire immediately offered to drive me to the train station. On the way, she stopped at my favorite coffee shop. "I know exactly how you like it," she smiled. "Extra cream, 2 sugars, exactly the way I'd ordered it for years." I thanked her. Before I got out of the car, she hugged me tightly. Her hug lasted just a little too long. "Have a wonderful trip, Dad." Those were the last words I heard before everything changed. 15 minutes later, while waiting on platform 4, I felt strangely exhausted. My hands began shaking. The announcements became distant echoes. Then my legs gave out beneath me. I remember falling. Then darkness. But one person refused to walk away. A woman named Dr. Amelia Brooks, who happened to be traveling that morning, noticed my condition before anyone else realized how serious it was. She immediately checked my pulse and asked bystanders to call emergency services. Inside the ambulance, she noticed something unusual, the smell coming from the coffee cup. She quietly asked the paramedics to preserve it. At the hospital, doctors stabilized me. Hours later, I opened my eyes. Dr. Brooks stood beside my bed. "You were incredibly lucky. What happened?" She hesitated before answering. "The lab found a dangerous amount of prescription sedatives mixed into your drink." I stared at her. "That can't be right." She nodded slowly. "It wasn't an accident." The room fell silent. My mind immediately returned to Claire, handing me the coffee with that perfect smile. Still, I couldn't believe someone in my own family would do something so cruel. The police were notified because the hospital considered the findings suspicious. While investigators questioned everyone close to me, another shocking discovery surfaced. 2 days before my collapse, someone had downloaded legal forms to transfer ownership of my home. My signature line had already been prepared. The police also learned Claire had repeatedly searched online for information about inheritance timelines and property transfers involving elderly relatives. When officers interviewed Ethan, he looked completely confused. He had no idea any of this was happening. He admitted Claire had recently pressured him to convince me to sell my house and move into assisted living. She claimed it was for my safety, but now, nothing sounded innocent anymore. Forensic testing confirmed the sedatives in the coffee matched medication prescribed to Claire months earlier. Confronted with the evidence, she finally confessed. She never intended to kill me. She claimed she only wanted me unconscious long enough for forged documents to be signed while I was too confused to understand. But the dosage nearly cost me my life. Intent didn't matter anymore. The damage had already been done. Claire was arrested. Ethan filed for divorce within weeks. The hardest part wasn't losing trust in my daughter-in-law. It was realizing my son blamed himself for ignoring the warning signs. One afternoon, while we sat together outside my house, he quietly said, "Dad, I should have protected you." I placed my hand on his shoulder. "No, you protect family by learning from the truth, not by carrying guilt forever." Months later, I met Dr. Brooks again. I thanked her for saving my life. She smiled gently. "I didn't save your life alone." "Who did?" "The woman selling newspapers near the platform." Apparently she had noticed Claire watching me from her parked car long after dropping me off. Instead of driving away immediately, she waited, watching. When I collapsed, Claire sped off without calling for help. The newspaper vendor told investigators everything she had seen. Her courage completed the puzzle. Today, I still drink coffee, but every morning, before taking the first sip, I'm reminded that trust is the most valuable thing anyone can ever give another person. And once broken, some families never recover. People often ask whether I ever forgave Claire. The truth is, forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Some betrayals don't begin with hatred. They begin with greed hidden behind kindness. The coffee she handed me almost became my last drink. Instead, it became the evidence that exposed the darkest secret inside my own family. If Dr. Brooks and one brave stranger hadn't acted that morning, you would never have heard my story. And that's why I share it today. Because sometimes the people who save your life are complete strangers. And the people you trust the most can become the ones who hurt you the deepest.